Hello everyone, thank you very much for tuning in to another beautiful day here at the Aquarium project. It is raining, so it's not actually a beautiful day, but we're happy and we're content, so that makes it a beautiful day. So what I wanted to talk about today is, before we get started actually, if you haven't already, check out our LinkedIn. I've been posting like articles and stuff on maybe some more industry type stuff rather than strictly hobby type stuff, if that makes sense. So I think it'll be quite interesting and quite a unique perspective for you guys. So I'll leave that in the pinned comment down below for you to check out. That would be greatly appreciated. But aside from that, what we're going to do today is we're going to be talking about pest snails. I'm going to use the word pest snails in, quotation marks. But what we're going to be talking about is if you decide you don't want them in your aquarium, how do we get rid of them? How do we kill them and all this thing? So, yeah, let's get into that. So, when we say pest snails, we're usually referring to like these guys here, if it will focus. It probably won't. Oh yeah, like the Malaysian trumpet snails. We've also got the ram's horn snails, like that guy there. And I don't really have any, so I can't show you, but like the pond snails. Those are generally the types of snails we're referring to. I don't know, there's probably different ones available or around in different countries that I'm not aware of, but for the most part, this is what we're going to be talking about, these three types of snails. So the thing with these snails is they're not actually like bad for an aquarium. They're actually good to neutral. So they're not going to cause any damage or anything, like they're not going to cause any harm to your aquarium. They do help a little bit, so particularly if you've got like a planted aquarium, for example, they will polish up any sort of dead leaves or dead, bits of plant, any bits of fish food that fall to the bottom or like decomposing organic waste. What they're going to do is like kind of break that down further so that it causes less of a mess essentially. The only downside to them is people don't like the look of them. Personally, I quite like the pond snails and the ram's horn snails. I think they're quite cool little things, quite interesting little things to look at, like a little smaller layer of interest. I actually target feed my ram's horns to kind of get them to breed more just because I like them. But I do hate the Malaysian trumpet snails. I just think they're gross and they're kind of creepy and I don't like them. But if you like them or you feel neutral about them, I would recommend keeping them, because they do add to the general ecosystem of your aquarium. It kind of helps make it a more full sort of environment for them, and it will help with like targeting little bits of plant that's died off. Or they also the pond snails live a lot of times in filters. So in my opinion, that's quite a helpful thing, because when your filter sucks in a leaf or something, it just helps break it down so it doesn't clog up the whole system. Again, I'm not sure it makes a massive difference, make a little bit of a difference, but it's not massive. But it is one of those things that's helpful and you may as well kind of thing, like if it's there, may as well. But a lot of people don't like the snails. They are ugly, they are kind of gross. They do take over a tank if left unchecked, if you've got too much waste going into the system and everything like that. So a lot of times people will want to get rid of them. And one of the questions we're asked all the time is, what is the most effective method of getting rid of them, keeping on top of the population, and kind of maintaining a handle on the situation? Most of the products out there aren't going to really kill them all. Things like the traps and some of the like poisons, like your copper-based poisons and that, they're either, so the traps won't kill them all. They're kind of therefore keeping on top of the population. Like if you like them, but you just don't want to get too many. Then things like copper and that's an effective poison, but the problem with it is it doesn't take too much for it to become a problem for the fish. It is easy to kind of dose it up to a point where you're going to cause trouble for the fish. So that's why I think what we're going to talk about today, which is the Flubendozole, is probably your best option in terms of keeping on top of a snail population and wiping it out without leaving any stragglers essentially. So yeah, let's have a look at the Flubendozole, shall we? So this is the Flubendozole here. This is just a little packet of it, and it's like a little white kind of powder almost. Looks like sand basically. This one I bought from Hollywood Fish Farm, but most local fish stores and that will either have it, be able to get it for you, or be able to point you in the direction of where to get it. Flubendozole is actually a parasite medication, so it's used to treat, parasites, as the name would suggest. But kind of the way I explain it to people is it's a worming medication for fish that snails happen to be allergic to. It's a very basic way to understand it. A lot of the times when people say sort of poison, people get worried like, oh, this is going to poison my fish, this is dangerous. But actually the flubendozole, very safe. I don't know the exact number, but you can overdose it heaps before it becomes a danger to the fish. So it is a safe medication, but it does kill the snails without harming the fish. So if you're gonna use it, it's one that you get a lot more wiggle room in terms of you do a bit overdose, bit underdose, doesn't matter, it'll still be fine. You're not gonna cause any trouble. And it is you don't need a lot, so just use like a quarter of a teaspoon, which is like a little fingernail's width, to treat like a 20-gallon aquarium. Just chuck it in and it will go in and it will kill the snails. It might take a couple days to kill them, but it will kill them. It obviously treats hydra and leeches as well, if you're dealing with that, but today we're talking about snails. So this aquarium here, I just chucked some in this morning. I kind of wish I had recorded it, but I didn't. So yeah, that's it here. As you can see, we're getting not too bad, but we are getting some Malaysian trumpet snails in that. So I'll leave this for a couple days and it will kind of just kill them all off. That is basically the idea. You do have to be a bit sort of mindful of when you do it, because obviously if you have, like, for example, tons and tons of Malaysian trumpet snails all throughout the gravel bed, killing them all off is gonna cause a ammonia spike, really. So this tank here is the main one. This stuff here is like, if you come in during later on in the day, this entire gravel bed is basically just covered in snails. And so I do have to be a bit careful. What I would recommend doing is just keeping an eye on it, fishing out any of the obvious ones you see around, like any of the obvious dead ones, and don't feed and just keep an eye on it. If you start to see like an ammonia spike or something go on, do a big water change. And what you'll want to do is when you do the water change, say you do a 50% water change, dose up an extra 50% of flubendozole, if that makes sense. So you're just trading the amount of water to keep the flubendozole at the same concentration as it originally was. Like I said, it won't take too long to actually kind of act. Maybe like 2 days, I'd say, on average. I'm sure it's going to vary, like sometimes it might be 1 day, sometimes it might be 3 days, but that kind of ballpark is going to give you at least a general rule or a general idea of what to expect. It's not one where you put it in and they'll all die like instantly. You do have to wait a day or two, but it is definitely the most effective method. The good thing is, so I don't know, but like about where you are, but for the most part, it is a little bit more of an expensive medication. It is, like that packet was $35, which is not tons, but a decent amount. But the good thing is you do need a fairly small amount. Like, I don't know how many doses is in that bag, but like you could easily get like 20 doses, say. So what you can do is, obviously I don't want to guarantee this will depend, but what you can do is like do your 1 dose, keep it, make sure your snails are dead, maybe do a 2nd dose if you're still getting stragglers, and then what you can do is like sell it on. Like I said, people use it for killing worms and parasites in your fish, or you might find someone else who also wants to kill some snails, but maybe you buy it for $35 like I said, and you sell it for $10 or $15 or something, get a little bit of money back and kind of pass it along, and it will kind of get cheaper and cheaper. Obviously I can't guarantee this will depend, but it's a good option, so you don't kind of get stuck with it, or you don't have to spend this money and just use a tiny bit and then that's it and throw it in the bin or anything like that. You can kind of keep it moving along the chain. But yeah, as a whole, the flubendozole is definitely the most effective snail treatment that I've found. If you're wanting to like wipe them all out, I have used the Blue Planet Snail Red, which is the same basically as the Seachem Cupramine. Both of those will work. I haven't found them to be quite as successful, and they're also a little bit more dangerous for the fish. It's easy to kill fish with too much copper, so you do have to kind of think about it a little bit more. I have used the snails as well, the snail traps as well. I find traps are fantastic for keeping on top of a population or catching a little bit of excess, but it's hard to get 100% effectiveness with the snail trap. But yeah, I'm sure there's hundreds of products for keeping on top of snails. You can also do the old like drop a piece of cucumber in overnight, fish it out in the morning and throw it out with all the snails. That again works similar to a trap. It's going to get a lot of them. It's not going to get all of them for the most part. Of course, maybe it might, but for the most part it won't. So yeah, I hope this kind of gives you a bit of a run through of one of the better ideas I have personally found to keep on top of a snail population and kill it. I think it's the easiest, most effective, least hassle. The only thing is it might be a little bit more expensive than some of the others, but again, $35 is like, it's not too bad. Like it's a bit, but it's not like it's hundreds of dollars at least. So yeah, well that's basically my little rundown on how to kill snails. If you've got any questions, please make sure to leave them down below. I always love hearing from you guys, even if it's just to say hi. I'll say hi, tell me funny stories, tell me something that's happened to you, tell me a joke, tell me a recipe, whatever you want to tell me, I'll read it. But yeah, other than that, thank you guys very much. If you haven't already, please make sure to like and subscribe and all that useful stuff that helps the channel out. And yeah, I love you all, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.